Ken Buck. He's a member of the House Freedom Caucus. Congressman Buck, good to see you. We've now seen Donald Trump indicted in 4 different cases, and the jockeying is underway to set trial dates, all of which will conflict with the Republican presidential primaries and caucuses. What's your feeling about how distracting Trump's legal troubles will be for the Republican Party writ large?
Well, first, I think it's going to be very distracting for the former president because he's got to be in different locations that aren't holding primaries, and I think it is going to be newsworthy whenever he shows up in the court, so he'll get a bump with that. But I think in terms of the debate that we saw last week, it's difficult to go after the former president's policies. And it's also one of the things that's talked about the most is not the answers that are given on the stage, but the answers that weren't given because the former president wasn't there.
Donald Trump keeps dismissing his legal troubles as election interference. You've read the indictments. Is that how you see it? Or do you think Donald Trump is in legitimate legal peril, at least in 1 or 2 of these cases?
I think there are a couple of cases that, and I'm sure the president and his former president and his attorneys are taking all of these very seriously, but there are a couple of cases. The classified documents case, for example, that I think is a very serious case. I'm sure the president is focused on defending himself in that case.
Let's turn to the Republican leadership. The House Republican leadership's push to open an impeachment inquiry targeting President Biden. Last month, you notably called impeachment talk a shiny object to distract from budget negotiations. What are you hearing about the impeachment inquiry conversation in your discussions with other members of the House Republican caucus, and for that matter, from your constituents back home?
Yeah, so I think the speaker is intending to either bring a floor vote or it doesn't appear that when it's necessary by the Constitution, he may just order an impeachment inquiry to move forward. My constituents back here, really in all of Colorado, are split on this issue. A lot of them, and part of this, Jake, I think it's fair to say, it doesn't justify having an impeachment inquiry or an impeachment of President Biden. But part of this is based on the fact that President Trump was impeached twice and acquitted twice by the Senate. I think there is more of an appetite on the right now for impeachment because it really hasn't been respected the way it was for the last 150, 200 years. So I think that my constituents back here, some of them want revenge, some of them want retribution, and others want to get over this and they want to move on and solve the problems that we face in this country.
I mean, for the record, the second impeachment was after January 6th, and it was a bipartisan vote to impeach Donald Trump both in the House and the Senate. Republicans in both the House and Senate voted against Donald Trump for that impeachment. So it might be observed that they're not even equal in importance in that way.
Well, I think that's right. I think, the first impeachment, one Democrat who's now changed to Republican, Jeff Van Drew, voted not to impeach the president. And in the second impeachment, I think there were 10 or 11 Republicans who voted to impeach President Trump. So yes, but we'll see what happens with this. Obviously, we're not at the point where we're ready to offer evidence of impeachment, but rather just to start an inquiry into whether impeachment is appropriate.
Yeah, I'm still not quite sure what crime Joe Biden is to have committed, but we'll get to that at a later date because I want to bring up the fact that your leader, House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, Republican of Louisiana,